So this is a video right here out on Chickamauga. Hopefully it'll play. I'm doing the yo-yo cadence here just so y'all can kind of see exactly what I'm doing.
3 freaking casts, dude. Missouri rattling vibe.
You see him throwing that purple color
See if I can get y'all a couple real quick. Get this one unhooked. I've been sitting here for about an hour now catching them every cast.
So this particular spot here was about 1 foot, 2 foot deep where I'm throwing. So as soon as it hits, I'm starting it pretty soon. But you can see I'm reeling down, ripping it up. Sometimes I'm pumping it twice. Then I'm reeling that slack down. I'm reeling that slack out of it as I'm reeling down. So ripping it up, reel it down. Rip it up, reel it down to the bottom. Now if you're fishing 5 to 10 foot of water, you have to wait a lot longer reeling down before you ripped it back up again. But this particular spot was pretty shallow, so I was able just to reel back down.
See if I can get one here.
And one thing to take note of too, when this cast right here, as I'm working it, watch how I set the hook and also watch how I fight the fish. So I'm ripping it up. I had them slap it right there. And they're going to bite it on the fall 99% of the time. So you rip it up, it's falling, it's shimmying down. That's usually when your bite's going to come. And it's usually going to feel like a tick.
I'm not catching no giants, but a bunch of 3 and 4 pounders, which that's.
And when they do that, when you're yoking it up and it's falling down and they tick it, best thing to do is reel into them and just kind of keep them coming. We'll talk about that on the next slide as well.
It's a decent one, probably 2 3/4, 3 pounds. He's fighting like he's bigger than that. That's over 3. It's a little bit better than I thought. I'm gonna boat flip them on in here. Boat flipping.
That's good. We can go to the next slide. But as you can tell, I just want to show ripping it up, falling it down, sometimes pumping it twice. That's a great technique when you're in grass. It's what a lot of people think would be when you would yo-yo, because you're trying to rip it out of the grass. But a lot of times, I'll yo-yo even if I'm not around grass. Like I'll just get on a straight mud flat, and that technique, it still works really good because it just mimics a fleeing bait fish so well. So fighting the fish. So a lot of y'all probably saw in that last clip. So I ripped it up, I was reeling down, I got that tick. When I get that bite, I'm just going to reel all the slack out as fast as I can, pull into them, and then, that's just the hook set. And then the biggest thing is you don't want there to be any slack in it. If there's slack, they have a good chance of throwing that bait. This is just a piece of lead with hooks hanging off of it. There's a lot of leverage those fish have to throw that bait. So the biggest thing, man, is just to keep that slack out of it. I know watching some people, like Iaconelli, for example, I'm a big Ike fan, but he hooks a fish and he's up and down and fighting it all over the place. And that's kind of how I used to be with a lipless crankbait. I used to really baby them. And then I was watching, this 4 or 5 years ago, I was watching Buddy Gross on Bassmaster Live, and he'd throw that lipless out there, he'd hook one, and he'd point that rod just to the side, a little bit down, and he would just kind of reel them in. And I started doing that after I saw Buddy do it, and I'm like, I started losing a lot less fish. If they don't get any slack in that line, there's a lot less chance they're going to come off. Now, if they get to the boat and they want to run a little bit, I'll kind of tire them out. But as far as like you hook one out there, keep that rod a little bit to the side and just keep them coming. And if they jump, which they're going to jump with the lipless, it's just part of it. You're going to try to make them not jump. Best thing to do instead of, it's hard not to do, because when one jumps, you're going to want to stop reeling and you're going to want to stare and your mouth is going to be open. But the best thing to do when he comes up and jumps, just keep reeling, keep winding. And then just, steady pressure, no slack, it kind of all goes in. And, try not to let them jump, try to keep your rod at kind of a low angle, but a lot of times you don't have a choice and fish have a mind of their own.